We're live. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to Crush This, a Monster Truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee. J Concepts. Don't mind my new picture right there. It's Bigfoot. Anyway, what's going on, guys? Thank you for being on. The show started, I guess, a few seconds ago, so maybe the intro could be bad. But welcome to Crush This Monster Truck podcast. I'm gonna maybe repeat myself here. High Octane Coffee, J Concepts, JB Scale Graphics, MTRC. Go check that out. We'll be showing their ad here a little bit. Justin Stories. Look out! He has a little bit of a podcast going on YouTube. Check that out. Also, is Making Tracks comic book. Pretty cool stuff. Once again, proceeds $10 at Amazon.com or Facebook message him. 6B Apparel. Hey. Our hoodies, crew shirts, they're for sale $100 a pop. Monday, we have a spread, I think spread.com site with t-shirts and stuff like that. We are going to open that up on Monday. This Monday. I was going to open up for the 1st of April, but it's April Fool's Day, and I don't want anyone to be twisted to think it's some kind of joke and going on and stuff like that. So Monday we'll be opening up. Pretty cool ideas, more stuff to come. We'll open up the site, get everything going. Oh man, we have so many people helping us out. J Concept, JB Scale Graphics. Some big things happening in the future for them. Go check that out. J Concepts, once again, official license by Bigfoot, Samson, USA One, bodies, tires. Go check them out. jconcepts.com. .net, actually, .net. It has a website on the corner there. Also, for people want to know, Columbus, I won't be in Columbus. I will be in Albany, New York. We just got added on. Some situations came about for the Monster Jam East. Mark Hall and Raminator. The Central Tour was kind enough to let the East borrow one of the guys in the trucks over on that tour to come over East. So we're going to be racing there. Kurt will be in Hotsy. He'll be in Columbus for all you fans and stuff like that. Oh, man. Want to thank, and also want to thank, if you want to go check out Quentin Arnold Racing. He's on Facebook. He is John Arnold, the owner of JB Scale Graphics' son, and he runs UTVs. Helped out with buying some cleaning supplies for him and the team to take care of some of the stuff that goes on to the UTVs. His season's about to start, big full-fledged. John actually had to kind of put his RC racing on hold to make JB Scale Graphics to grow, and also help his son improve in his racing. That it's so is the Central shows down 2 trucks, or is it just a week off? No, the Central tours, there's no 2 trucks. There's just gonna be 7 in Columbus. The 8th truck will be Raminator, but that's going to Albany, and that will be a 6 truck field. Without Raminator, it would have been 5. So that's what's going on. It's 7 trucks in Columbus. So that answers your question there, Eric. But anyway, guys, once again, go to Quentin Racing on Facebook. I will put that link and share on our Facebook page. Right now, going on the phone because I'm just a terrible person. Quentin. So it's KWYNTIN Arnold Racing on Facebook. Go like and help support them. Once again, they run the UTV racing all over the central United States, and it's going to be pretty cool. So thank you so much for letting us help you guys out. And also Nick Davis from Back Channel Productions. I'm sorry for not giving him information, but we normally show ads for him and stuff like that. And I want to thank Joey Sylvester, High Octane Coffee. He kicked butt over there in Fort Wayne, Indiana this weekend. So shout out to Joey and them. Once again, also shout out to all the people that represent our podcast. Recently, Against the Grain, American Scout, thank you so much for what you guys have done. And Levi, your book is on its way. Um, some I gave it to Craig, and Craig's giving it to someone else, so it should be in Seattle by this weekend. Brad is right now fixing with his computer, so he'll be on in a little bit. But let's get the show started, and we will have Miss Bryanna. Oh, there's Brad, and he'll be on here. So we'll learn a little bit insides and everything you want to know. So she helps us out big time with the Monster Jam Central Tour, and she keeps the train rolling with a bunch of people helping out, because without her and the others, this product of Monster Jam in the Central Tour wouldn't be done. So we're gonna do a little bit of opening the brain. So let's get this ball rolling, guys. And
This isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Chichagash. Buckle in. The show starts now.
oh, hey Brad, looks like everything's fixed. Nope, we can't hear you, Brad. Gosh darn it.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Yep, we hear you now.
I am having the podcast from hell, it seems.
It must be that.
So
Mustang.
20 minutes before we start, my computer, which I don't really shut off, is shut off. I don't know why. Turn it on, Windows updates. And then I'm like, great, I'm going to be late for the podcast. And then now all of a sudden my connection is unstable. Everything is going to crap. But you know what? I'm here. I'm going to try to make do with what I have. So if you see me drop randomly, I do apologize.
It's okay. We have one of those days like I had with Mike Wine. Remember, everything wasn't going on very well. So we'll go from there. But how's it going, Bryanna? I haven't talked to you in a few days.
What is today, Tuesday?
Yeah.
It's been like, 3 days now? I'm still missing my dad joke. I didn't get one on Sunday, so.
You're going to get one anyway. I'm sorry.
Eventually.
We've been so busy. Well, I have to give you at Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I have to give you like 5 or 6 dad jokes.
Minimum. Yeah. So I'll be keeping track. Don't worry. I don't forget. I know we were busy in Grand Rapids because we had 5 shows, but there's no more excuses now. Cincinnati, you're going to have to catch up.
Ah, dang it. Yeah, especially since I'm now splitting and doing another show. So got some time to do that. But let's start from the beginning. You're Californian, I guess that would say. But what got you introduced to racing? What was it like to, step foot in the motocross dirt bike world?
Well, I started way back when I was 11, which feels like it was ages ago at this point because I'm almost 30. But I started when I was 11. I have a twin sister, and her and I were kind of introduced to the motocross world thanks to our dad. He told us basically that any other sport was too dangerous, and our only option was to race dirt bikes. And we were like, okay, cool, that makes sense. So we started when we were 11. I've been doing that all the way up until I think 2013 is when we retired. But we literally started when we were 11, went up the chain, turned pro, raced 3 pro seasons, and had a blast doing it. And ever since, we've been involved in some sort of motorsport ever since then.
I just love the logic kind of right there. Like, yeah, all these other sports are dangerous. Here's something that, you know, has a motor and, you know, flies like insanely high in the air. I love the logic.
Yeah, it was really funny because my twin sister and I, we were always super, I don't know, active, always outside, whether we were swimming or running around, rollerblading on our scooters, like all the time. And we always wanted to play team sports, but we didn't want to play soccer or I don't know, whatever else you could do, as some other, you know, whatever team sport you could do in school. We wanted to do something abnormal all the time. We wanted to play football or hockey, and they were like, no, that's way too dangerous. So they're like, well, we can get you on dirt bikes. And we were like, well, yeah, I mean, if you're going to have to let us do something, because we're just way too active to just, you know, sit inside. So yeah, it was pretty funny. And so I have to blame my dad for that one, because we weren't ever allowed to play anything dangerous. And obviously on our tour, we play football in between shows to pass the time. And so I feel like I'm getting my like football fix, but now my brain has been wired to think that that's really dangerous. So we're around monster trucks and dirt bikes every weekend, and I'm like, oh, football's dangerous. So I don't know what's going on.
Man, oh man. So in the time that you were doing the motocross and stuff like that, I heard stories, and you may have a testament on it, the training and the mental game, and you know, the early mornings and late at night, just for being a young person in the world of, you know, motocross and dirt bikes. Was it for you made you mature quickly to handle so much I guess a list of stuff to do to get yourself prepared to race on the weekends?
Yeah, we did a range of things. I mean, when we started at 11, we didn't really have any goals with it. We didn't really have any end goals per se. It was just kind of something we did for fun. We did our first race when we were 13, and a lot of people came up to us and were like, "Oh man, you guys should like race more often and like actually take it seriously," because we stood out at the local racetracks, and we were doing pretty good for ourselves. And so then it did quickly turn into a very serious full-time job for us, if you would say. And so yeah, we definitely, I guess you could say, started training around 13, 14 years old, traveling the country. And we started getting homeschooled in 7th grade. So from 7th grade on, we were homeschooled to race full-time and train full-time. And yeah, it was a lot of early mornings, a lot of cycling, just a lot of like cardio, fitness, that kind of stuff. We had a personal trainer. We had a motocross coach. We had all that stuff, eating correctly, the whole nine. It was a full-time job. And on top of obviously doing schoolwork and stuff at home, and a lot of time management, a lot of self-discipline, you know, and just a lot of seat time on a dirt bike, which just alone can be exhausting in itself for, you know, a preteen and going into our teenage years and stuff. And, you know, we didn't really have a normal childhood because of that. And I'm super appreciative of it. I love it. I'm really proud of how we grew up, and the things that racing dirt bikes and being a professional athlete taught me and my sister. So, and I obviously, I bring that over to my professional side too, when it comes to work. Like I like to take all that and apply it to my everyday. So, yeah, it was a full-time job ever since we were 13 on. And I love it. I think it was awesome.
Well, you look at, you know, amateur motocross and stuff in California, and the amount of tracks, you know, Glen Helen, Paula, so many tracks, and you just look at amateur motocross in general. You know, even today, you look at kids like Hayden Deegan, and all the guys that have come up through the ranks, even Adam Cianciarillo, Cooper Webb, Jason Anderson, and all that. How competitive was it when you and your sister were doing it? And, you know, did you guys ever get to go to Loretta Lynn's? Like, how was all that at the time?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Glen Helen was an hour from us. Paris Raceway was an hour from us. Star West at the time, that was an hour from us. Lake Elsinore Motocross Park, that was an hour. I mean, we had Paula opened, you know, a little bit later. Milestone was open for. We had so much just in Southern California that it was like, I don't know how you couldn't, you know, be at our level without that we had so many diverse options to train and stuff like that. So that was really, really cool. And I think personally, a lot of our talent came from just having that resource of being able to go to the tracks and have that accessibility. That was really cool. But yeah, I mean, riding with a lot of those guys that you named, we were riding with them at the local track at the same years, you know, that they were racing. And we did get to go to Loretta's. I unfortunately broke and dislocated my elbow 2 weeks before I was supposed to go, but my sister had qualified. So luckily we got to go just in general, which was cool. I had to cheer her on from the side with my broken elbow, but yeah, we did that. We did Ponca City. We did World Minis when that was in Vegas for a lot of years. We did all the regional qualifiers, all that stuff. We were, like I said, full time. Any of the races that came up, we were doing it. Back then, for women, you had to earn your professional card, your professional AMA license, basically at the time. And so it all came down to the points you earned and the races you attended. And then obviously you had to pay a fee and that kind of stuff. So back then it was a little different than it is now, at least for women racers. But yeah, it was a full-time job, and it was cool seeing like the guys that are racing in pro supercross now. We were racing with them, like Christian Craig and all those boys. Like we were, you know, on the track with them at these local tracks, and on the weekends we would race local races just to get seat time again. And you know, we'd be racing with all these super fast guys because back then they didn't really have a women's class, and if they did, it was just my sister and I. So we grew up racing with the guys, practicing with the guys. We had a male, you know, dirt bike coach, like all that stuff. And so I think that added to our toughness and just how, you know, we're so used to being in a male dominated sport that, you know, I think that kind of prepped us for the real world, because a lot of industries we are in are still male dominated, and it kind of added that edginess and that toughness to us, and, you know, made us work harder to try and compete with the boys. And yeah, we got to do Loretta's, Ponca City, all those really cool races. We got to, you know, when we were racing pro, we got to race Hangtown and Washougal and did a lot of that circuit. So that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, you look at it today and it is so competitive today. I mean, even just on the women's side too, it's still extremely packed. I mean, you can see every race we watch on the amateur side, it's super stacked, like top 10, top 15, and especially in like the 250, you know, intermediate B class, all that stuff. Those boys are so fast, and and the tracks are more intense too. So it's like a whole new world these days. I'd probably just like ruin myself trying to race today, but back then it was just as fun. So,
you know, you guys also testament to your to another form of racing. You may correct me if I'm wrong there, Bree, but you guys did a lot of endurance dirt bike racing too, motocross type deal. You know, how is that? You're taking it to the next step. You know, like you said, there's a lot of seat time just in practice. Now you're doing a race where, you know, it's not testing your body, it's testing your mental game. And what tell me the story behind what got you guys going into that section of, you know, racing in general, because if it was me, I'd be like, nah, I like just to do maybe go try to do the 3-second racing, but or maybe a few laps, but I don't know if I could do an endurance race. What got you guys into that?
well, I'll tell you what, the entire sport of racing a dirt bike, it might be the same for Monster Jam and Monster Truck drivers too. I haven't competed in Monster Jam, so I don't know, but I know as an athlete, a lot of sports are all, it's like 80% mental and maybe 20%, you know, physical, in my opinion. And it doesn't matter if it's a 20-minute race or a 6-hour endurance race. I mean, you have to be so focused on what you're doing at all times. So the 6-hour and the 12-hour and the 24-hour stuff, all that it's absolutely insane. I don't know why anybody in their right mind would want to do something like that, but I think it is just a challenge. And I was lucky enough to watch my sister do the 6-hour. I think it was maybe it was a year and a half ago now. And just standing in the pits for 6 hours, I was exhausted. So I don't know how they could ride dirt bikes in that a lot of time, but it's all mental. And I think it comes down to just being super focused and always having that one goal in mind of trying to do your best, and, you know, hopefully you win. But yeah, the whole sport in general is mental. And I think that goes for any athlete that does any type of extreme sport. It's just, you have to be all in.
I personally think that motocross and supercross racers are some of the toughest athletes. You look at, let's say, Chad Reed Millville, when he had that ridiculous get off.
Yeah.
After, I remember watching that with my friend, and we were like, are you kidding me? How did he survive that? Yeah, motocross and supercross racers are some of the toughest athletes today.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at this last race that they had in Seattle. I think it was Chase Sexton. It was either in a heat race or the main or something. He was doing a step on, step off, and just something very slight happened. But the caliber of racing that they're doing nowadays is so fast. The bikes are so fast. The tracks are extremely technical. I mean, it's not like it used to be even just 5 years ago. Everything has been heightened to such an extreme that even a slight mistake or a slight error in the bike or a slight, mishap, if you lose a little bit of focus or you kind of break away from whatever you're doing, your hand slips off, whatever. I mean, it could be catastrophic. And like you said, the Chad Reed incident was already psychotic, and that was what, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago now. Like, it was a while ago.
It was 2011, and you also look at what happened with things happening. Look at Vince Freezy, Christian Craig in Glendale. Christian Craig takes an absolute slam into that wall, gets up, dusts it off like nothing happened. Like, you got to have obviously the training and everything, but like Cheech said, with the mental game, you got to be mentally tough when you are bar to bar banging, with these guys.
Yeah, I honestly, it comes down to the fact that they've been racing for a long time. And I mean, we can even go down a perspective of like, even just the safety equipment that we used to wear. Like when Liette came out with those neck braces, we all kind of jumped on that bandwagon. And then, as time was going on, like we realized a lot of people were breaking their collarbones, and it was hindering their performance on a bike. So you look at what we're looking at today, where a lot of these riders literally just have real basic knee braces on, no elbow, not like literally nothing else, a good solid helmet, and they're just out there racing. So when Christian Craig has a slam like that, he's literally just going body straight to dirt and hoping that he's crashed enough times where he knows just to kind of roll and let it ride out. But then not only that, I mean, it's like I said, it's just your adrenaline's rushing so hard. You have so much focus that you kind of feel the pain later. I mean, you look at Cooper Webb's crash, I think 2 years ago when he went straight to concrete. That again, same thing. It's I would say that's on the same caliber as the Chad Reed crash. I would say Chad Reed had a little softer of a landing, but Cooper Webb, same thing, right to concrete. I mean, for any other person, that would knock you out for months. But then there's the other thing too, where I always stand by professional motocross racers. I think are the gnarliest athletes in the world. I would say a close second would maybe be soccer, because they're running for like 90 minutes at a time. But it's hard to compare anybody to a professional motocross or supercross athlete. The nonstop training, the nonstop riding, and then just the intense abuse that your body gets just riding a dirt bike in general, that you don't even know that your knees are taking impact every time you ride, your wrists are taking impact, your spine's taking a lot of impact. So, and that's if you're riding good. That's if you're hitting all your marks and you're jumping everything smooth and your suspension's perfect and everything else. And then you throw on those little mishaps that we see all the time in supercross, and you're just like, that's just little tweaks every single time. And some of these riders have been doing it for a long time, and I can't imagine how they walk at the end of the day, to be honest.
It's crazy also, because you think about outside, maybe you may also have to put in like a UFC fighter or a boxer. They retire by 27, 28, maybe. Yeah, no one's gonna be like a Kevin Windham, but
right.
but you're like Dungy, he was done by 33. Villopoto, he was done, but he continued on, but it's still, he's in his mid-30s right now. So the retirement is really early for them. But we're gonna take a little bit of a turn out of motocross and supercross and stuff like that. You said you and your sister retired. Well, yeah, parted ways with it from 2013. I know you guys still do stuff with that, but what got you into filming and videography? If you also want to plug the YouTube, because I know you guys did a vlog of your guys' trip back in, like, I think the beginning of 2020, 2019, something like that. But still, you did a lot of cool stuff with that. So what got you interested in basically collecting memories footage-wise?
Yeah, we started riding dirt bikes at a young age, and I don't know, ever since we had the cool Panasonic point and shoot camera that my parents had, like we would just always film like really funny videos all the time, and I liked editing the videos and stuff from a super young age. So then we started racing, and that kind of took over like all my time. And then in between, when we had quote unquote time off, wasn't necessarily like a lot of time off, but like on our downtime, we would just kind of film skits, funny things. We'd start filming stuff at the track, and it just kind of morphed into when we weren't racing and training, we're like, oh, we should just like make funny videos like at the track and like film stuff, us riding and that kind of stuff. And that kind of took off. And we did like a web series called The Roommates, where when we were racing pro, we lived in Florida for a year when we were training full time and racing pro moto full time. And that took off, and that was really funny. And we just literally in between training and racing, we would film ourselves, messing around at the track or doing funny skits and that kind of stuff. And then basically once we were done racing, as a professional career, after obviously the racing career, I wanted to get into like the film industry and take my videography and my editing stuff a little bit more seriously. So I went back to college after I retired from racing, finished my college degree, got a Bachelor of Science in Communication. And then my first job out of college was a senior video editor for a nonprofit organization in Costa Mesa, California. I did that for a little bit. And so it was kind of cool to kind of take all the videography and all that fun stuff that I was doing kind of on the side for racing and kind of morphed it into like a career. Became a production manager for post-production for this company. And all that same time, we were just doing funny stuff, still riding and doing that kind of thing. And then basically when I made the switch over to live entertainment with Feld and Monster Jam, kind of like didn't really do a lot of that stuff, obviously, because our travel time and shows and stuff are so hands-on with that. Then they ended up hiring my twin sister Brittany to drive Zombie. And the craziest thing is that they put her on my tour. So it was the best thing ever. So now me and my sister are back on tour together, basically living and working together. And we're like, well, we have to film this too. Like, that's just what we do. We've done this our whole career, our whole lives. We've filmed everything. We've made funny videos. Now we're not doing dirt bikes anymore. We're doing monster truck stuff now. So basically, like you said, in 2020, we did something called Twins on Tour. And it was just kind of this funny, like, oh, we'll just kind of do like a YouTube series. And it was kind of, in light of what we had done with dirt bikes, where it was, instead of calling it The Roommates, we called it Twins on Tour because it was my sister and I with Monster Jam. And yeah, it was a really cool way to kind of show fans of the sport, or even just people wanting to like watch us be stupid, make jokes and stuff, kind of see a little bit more of the back end of Monster Jam, and kind of the ins and outs of it. And we'd film stuff like early morning PR with Bernie getting ready to do something ridiculous on the track or whatever, or we'd film stuff like I don't know, just random things back in the locker rooms, making jokes or messing with Kristen Anderson, or writing funny stuff on the whiteboard for some of the boys or whatever. It was just funny stuff like that. And yeah, it kind of morphed into this really cool thing. And unfortunately with COVID, we kind of prematurely got cut. But there's in the future, if she's ever back on shows with me, like, you could bet your bottom dollar we will be firing up the GoPro and filming some more episodes of Twins on Tour.
So let's talk about how you got into Monster Jam. Obviously, your twin sister is driving Zombie. So were you aware of, the monster, obviously possibly aware of the monster truck industry, Monster Jam, all that beforehand? Did you, and another question within that, did you have any misconceptions about the monster truck industry before coming into it? Because I know a lot of people might look at it, in the previous as redneck or, stuff like that. Did you have any apprehensions going into it?
Yeah, I honestly, that's a really good question. And I'm going to have to be super honest. Yes, I really did have my doubts of like the industry and just kind of what it looked like. Now, to be fair, I'm from the 2-wheel side. So anything with 4 wheels, I really didn't pay attention to. I mean, my whole life has been 2 wheels. So I knew of monster trucks. I knew of Gravedigger. I knew of all that kind of stuff. I wasn't really into it. I never really watched it. Never attended a show. So in 2018, when they hired me, they flew me out to watch my first Monster Jam show. It was in Peoria, Illinois, so not the most spectacular, wasn't like a world finals or anything like that, but they sent me out and I literally watched my first show after I had gotten hired. And so that's kind of funny, but yes, in my head, I was kind of like, okay, cool. So I know it's Feld Entertainment. I know that they put on, really intense, high production shows. So I don't know what it's going to look like when you have monster trucks involved. And I was really intrigued. I really was. I was like, well, if you take the best of the best, in like the live action stunt show, company, and you put monster trucks in it, it's got to be cool. This has got to be different than what maybe I might be thinking, like, at a fair or something like that. So I did have my doubts of like how, different is this going to be from 2-wheel, and how different is this going to be from maybe like any other type of 4-wheel event or something like that. And when I got into it, I was wildly taken back that it was not anything I thought, like you said, and it was nothing to do with redneck stuff. It had nothing to do with some like backyard, like carnival, weird, kitschy thing. It was really intense. It was very much a respectable sport in my eyes. Like, I think Monster Jam does a really good job of making it a sport and a show, to be honest. I think it's a good mix. And so I was pleasantly surprised. The people in the industry too, absolutely amazing. I've met some of my best friends on this whole monster truck journey, with Feld and stuff like that. And pleasantly surprised. Yes, like 1000% had my doubts and kind of my concerns of the industry in a whole. And then coming over here, I was definitely taken back with just how opposite it really is.
So, with you doing your transition from the position that you're at in Monster Jam, now, like I said before, in the motocross, you're preparing yourself mentally and you're gathering stuff. Now, even though I'm on your tour, I don't know technically your job title, but because I know you're like right underneath Craig, and basically, Craig sees what's going on, but during the show, you're kind of the one that's running, doing the lineups, trying to get everything together. Take us on a process of, let's just say, Columbus this week. What on the paper itself, when do you start preparing everything for the show that's happening in a few days?
Well, just so you know, Cheech, I'm the production stage manager. I'm pretty sure I introduced myself all staff. So nice to know you're listening.
I'm sorry.
Now, well, no, I'm going to look at you every time we have a meeting and be like, hi guys, I'm Bree. I'm the production stage manager this week. Nice to meet everybody. No, I cover, it's hard to explain to people too, because I feel like I always have to explain this to my parents too, because they always forget. They're just like, we don't know what you do. You just like run monster truck stuff. It's basically like an operations manager for anything that has to do with, when we're on site. So, for example, like you said, for Columbus coming up, we've started for a normal Q1. So the first 3 months of the year, we'll start our advanced work for the first 10 plus cities way back in October, November. We'll call buildings. I make sure that, for example, trailers can get in, where the trailers can go, where we can park. Can we fuel inside? Can we, do you guys have a hose for dirt? Can we have dirt equipment dropped off? Are you guys a union building? Can we use your forklift? Can I order catering? Can I order outside catering? Like little things like that. And then that's kind of all those advanced things. There's a bunch of random stuff too, setting up for pit party, making sure that if we don't have any outside sponsors, what banners do we need to hang? And then it goes on from there. I mean, making sure we have enough track supply at the show itself, making sure I order cases of water, flour for the boundary lines, paint so they can paint the track, making sure the paint sprayer works, making sure that my tech officials have all the supply they need. There's so many little things, hiring labor, making sure our brand ambassadors for pit party know where to park and show up and what time. And it's a whole thing, hiring the anthem singer, hiring the color guard. I mean, it's making the schedule. Like there's just a bunch of stuff that we do as production stage managers that it's quite a full-time job. So even just today being Tuesday, we're not physically on the road, but I've been doing work all day today, still advancing the rest of our Q1 basically. So for Columbus, let's say we're a handful of days out now. I've been advancing Columbus over the last month and a half. Not full time, but just kind of along with all the other cities and buildings that we go to. But now I'm really finalizing the last minute things, making sure our whole staff has the parking map, making sure everyone has the schedule, making sure that I'm ordering food right now for the whole weekend, making sure everyone has the snacks. Like it's a whole thing. And yes, Craig is our tour manager and he's more of an admin position. So if there's any damage or anything like that, he's dealing with paperwork and that kind of stuff. But for my position, I'm very much more hands-on outside of the show office on the floor, making sure dirt is being loaded in, making sure that, like I said, the tech officials and the AV staff and you guys, the independent, teams that come in, you guys know what's going on and doing the meetings. And then finally, after all that's done, when it's time to actually do the show, besides letting people know when the shows are happening, making sure that there's time checks so everybody shows up on time, yelling at drivers to get in their trucks when it's time to do the show, and then calling the entire show. So it's almost like I turn into like a director of the show. So I stand up in show call, wherever that is, every weekend, and I'm just making sure that the track is safe for the trucks to hit the track. I'm in charge of making sure AV is putting, the correct time up on the board, and I'm running the lights so the drivers can know when to go and stop. I'm talking to the tech officials to let them know that it's safe for the next truck to come out. I let them know what truck is next. Timing and scoring, like it's just a whole production that I'm managing at all times, and I love it. I love working hard. I love the busyness of it. I love the stress of it. But yeah, I mean that's like a small part. I'm sure I'm missing thousands of things, but it's just kind of managing this entire operation and making sure everybody has what they need, and then calling the show, and then dealing with load in and load out. And I can probably go on for hours of what I'm doing, but I'm sure I'm missing stuff too. So it's a whole lot.
With, let's say, doing a show like Chicago, Rosemont Horizon, everybody knows that show. There's 5 shows. And talk about doing a weekend like that, because there are some weekends where you guys are maybe doing 2 or 3 shows, but a 5-show weekend, what goes into something like that? Because from stories that I've heard from people that have done Rosemont, it's a pretty intense, 5 shows.
Yeah, well, we actually just did 5 shows this last weekend in Grand Rapids too. I think that a 5-show weekend can seem intimidating going into it, because our average is usually 3 or 4 shows. Like for arenas, it's usually 3 or 4, and I think everyone's expectations are a 3 or 4. We just know what to expect for a 4-show weekend. So when you throw that extra show in there, I think a lot of people get kind of overwhelmed with the thought of having to do a whole nother show outside of what our normal is. But I do my best to try and keep everybody in like a positive mindset, to think that it's 5 shows, but we have the best team. We're going to be okay. I'm going to make sure everyone's set up for success. We're going to try and have a good positive attitude about everything, and we just try and have fun. I mean, I'm sure Cheech can vouch for this, but like we like to play football in between shows. We'll play horseshoes. We will play I think the boys want cornhole now. Like we just try and keep everybody lighthearted. We keep the snacks flowing. We make sure everyone has their fancy waters. The 5-show weekend thing can be really rough, for its obvious reasons. I mean, fleet guys, even drivers, that's a whole extra show, a whole extra 2 hours of thrashing the trucks around, and, their bodies, and just having to deal with that. Same for the tech officials too, having to prep a track again, for the 5th time. But I think just having a good team and having everyone's mindset be positive going into it, like, really makes a difference between our average 4-show expectation and then going into a 5-show. At least this last year in Rosemont, we had a blast. I did it in 2020. We also had a blast. We did Toledo with 5 shows, and then this last weekend we did 5 shows too. So we just did 10 shows in 2 weeks on my tour, and I think everybody did an amazing job. And I think it just comes down to everybody just having a good positive attitude and having a blast. We get to put on monster truck shows. It's super fun.
I personally think me personally, based off people's attitudes, I think is based off the weather. And we've been geographically everywhere. Brad's gonna be like, you don't know cold weather. It's cold compared to everyone else. We've been dealing with cold, and especially when you have Grand Rapids and Rosemont, where there were heated tents, but still a difference between, I think, doing a show that's 75 degrees to a show that's 29 degrees can change someone's mental game big time. And that's a testament to the whole crew, because we know it's cold. Yeah, we know it's, long and, a whole weekend, but it's a show. And that's why we got paid to do. I mean, you get the trucks turn around, trucks do their thing, drivers do their thing. I always tell people, like, we're here to let people forget about 2 hours of their lives.
Right.
That's our job. Whatever is wrong, if there's a situation with me, you, Bree, or Brad, it doesn't matter. Our main goal is to help that person that could have a much worse scenario than we have, or could have, a kid to have straight A's on the report card. He's rocking, he or she are rocking it out, and going to the show, or, it could be a date, someone taking someone, it doesn't matter. Our job is to make everyone happy. And we always take that, and we always think about that. And we always like doing that stuff, like Brad said, the 5 shows, it's a show, that's the way it goes. We are definitely past the halfway point. Bree, this season's a little bit longer of a schedule for first quarter compared to our previous past. Like you said, normally our first quarter schedule is normally done between early or mid March. Normally that's Vegas. When I say
Right.
Vegas, the World Finals, but this time the World Finals is in May. So with you preparing everything like that, and since we had to get the ball rolling. I know with Monster Jam, you guys got the ball rolling back in early 2021, actually in the late 2020.
Yeah.
But what had to keep you stable to prepare yourself for this long schedule that we have from the beginning of January in Baltimore to now in the beginning of May, where we end the first quarter schedule at New Hampshire. I know there's shows for you after that, but what keeps you prepared for this long schedule that's compared to the past?
Yeah, I think you said it best. It just comes down to knowing that, I know you guys and your guys' racing team and stuff, you guys have such a good team. I have a lot of pride in the team that we have too. So it's kind of the same thing. Like I can prepare all day long. I can have everything done on the computer in advance, when I'm doing my advanced work, I can have all that stuff done and feel good about it. But I think it comes down to what keeps me sane throughout the whole process. And I guess even just mentally preparing is knowing that all my hard work is going to pay off, because I know that my team is working just as hard to put on those good shows, and they take pride in their work. I mean, just like you were saying, that cold weather, our tour coordinator, Amber, for intermission will run down and do 2 big things of hot chocolate. I mean, that's the kind of camaraderie we have on our tour. And that makes me work hard. That makes me know that going into each weekend, it's like, I know it's going to be long and tough. I know it's like if we have 5 show weekends or whatever, it's going to be long, it's going to be cold, that kind of thing. It's going to be rainy, snowy, whatever. It's like knowing that my team is also showing up, putting in 110% effort to, make sure that the shows go swimmingly and they're entertaining and everyone's safe. So yeah, those people that do come to the shows, whether they're having a bad day at work and they're looking forward to coming to the Friday night show, they're going to have a blast for those 2 hours. We're going to put on the best show ever. It's going to be the gnarliest competition they've ever seen, probably also the loudest. Just knowing that alone is rewarding, and it makes all the hard work pay off. But I mean, it's cool. We all work super hard to put on good shows, but not only that, but like keep everyone sane. And for me, this might be our longest season, but I'm not looking forward to it to end, because I know that every week I get to go hang out with my best friends. So I get to hang out with people like you, where you guys make the best dad jokes in the business. I get to hang out with my tech official team, my AV team, that I've known, that's been on my team for 3 years now. Just that alone is what keeps me going every weekend. So I have to give them all the credit, because they show up and they make me want to work hard for them. And so that's what keeps me going. So I can't complain.
Before I get to my next comment, you mentioned dad jokes, and Kurt Kramer in the chat earlier had a dad joke, and I'm going to read it out.
Okay.
He said, this is what he wrote. I was going to cook some alligator, but all I had was a crock pot.
Good, Kurt. Good.
My girlfriend is always getting me jokes. You can kind of see right there. So my girlfriend found this stupid joke, and I think it is the worst joke in the world. I'm going to try to read it from here. Okay. And this is the reason why she printed it out, because I hate this joke. So it says, I found a recipe from Morocco for homemade dinner rolls that called for fresh thyme, but mine was outdated. I use it anyways. As I reminisce, I really like that old time Moroccan roll.
Oh my God. Well, good thing you printed it out. That helps. That's good.
Well, she did.
Oh, good thing she printed it out.
I hate that joke so much. So, I just want to say, to yourself and Cheech, I respect what you guys do. I've only had the opportunity of being club help at one Monster Jam show back in 2016. I actually got to meet Cheech out in Calgary. But as somebody that's been to some more the independent promoters, it's a whole different playing field when you're helping do a Monster Jam show, and you guys, from the technicians to what you do, Bree, it's insane, and I respect the heck out of you guys for what you do. What in your mind is the most rewarding part about what you guys do?
I think it just comes back to what Cheech mentioned earlier. Like, I was in film production for a long time, and the payoff on like the hard work you'd put into like a film production, like editing or directing, whatever it is, producing, it takes months to see the end product, right? But in live entertainment and with Monster Jam specifically, when the truck comes out and you time it, for example, when we play the Grave Digger Bells, and she comes out on the track at the right time when that music hits, and she like, pins it, and like it's really loud right at the drop of the beat, and the crowd lights up and everyone's super stoked. Knowing that I had a very small part of that little mini production piece, that little bit of a, working with the AV team to have it timed out right, and then having the techs get her ready on time, and then sending her to the floor and stuff like that. Like that tiny little piece, that maybe 2 to 5% I had anything to do with that, like, and seeing the crowd erupt, like that makes it worth it for me. And it's an immediate payoff in seeing the crowd's reaction. And then, watching the crowd too, from little kids to, I've seen plenty of grandmothers in the crowd losing it over, a gnarly two-wheel skills save or something like that. And having the diverse crowd there too makes it worth it, because it's not like we are putting on, a skating show, or like an ice rink show or something like that, or a legacy show or a stage show where it's predominantly for like little kids. We are dealing with a fan base that is so broad, so it's not like this is a predominantly kids event. This is literally for the entire family, and I think that's also fun too, knowing that we have fans of all ages and a very diverse fan group, to be honest, which I think was another thing that kind of shocked me too, with just the industry itself, is that literally everybody likes anything that is oversized. Anything with big tires on it that comes out and breaks up the dirt and crushes cars or crushes the turn box, even though it drives me nuts, the crowd loves it. And so that's what makes it rewarding, just seeing those reactions right off the bat.
It's always awesome to, turn people's heads and the production and everything like that, and just the excitement of a Monster Jam show and a Monster Truck show in general. If anyone is on this podcast just watching and always wanted to have an experience like it, go get your tickets, monsterjam.com, or the No Limit, or the Toughest, or Throwdown, or the all these productions. Go Hot Wheels Monster Truck Live, go check them out. Much love and stuff like that. So once again, Bree, thank you so much for being on. And is there any social media people can follow you at?
Yeah, you can follow me in all the ridiculous things that I post, mostly about Monster Jam, because that's basically been my life this whole year. But I'm pretty sure it's Bryanna Marcotte 55 now. I could be totally wrong. I haven't looked at it in a quick second, but pretty sure it's Bryanna Marcotte 55. Come follow me. We post a bunch of silly things, and I think the only reason why my girlfriend hangs around me anymore is because I do make those dad jokes that I steal from you, Cheech. So, and now, apparently it's a collective. I'm gonna have to start going to Kurt for some dad jokes now. So,
there's all sorts of it all over the place.
I rely on you though. That's another reason that keeps me showing up to these shows, Cheech, is because you guys come out here and you understand the assignment.
I try to do it. It's just like, I try to do what I try to do, like the saying goes, why couldn't a bicycle stand up? Because it has 2 tires.
See, this is it. Why else would I show up each weekend other than to put on Monster Truck shows? It's to hear these dad jokes. So I appreciate you.
I always, my motto in life is, if you're not laughing, you're not living. So I always thought, always have a good time. If you laugh, then it's a good thing for the soul, and
absolutely.
And we're always doing what we're doing just to do. So sound like a Tom Mentz analogy, if you don't know but then you know. So
oh, Tom Mentz.
But man, thank you for being on. We had someone, actually, Elizabeth McCutcheon, said she saw you in Grand Rapids and wanted to say hi. So
Well, hi,
You're getting
Elizabeth. Very nice
recognized.
to meet you.
And
Come say hi anytime.
Right on, right on. If anyone's at the Columbus show, say hi. You know what I mean?
Don't be scared. Come up to us.
What is it 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday?
It is, yes. We got a 1 p.m. and a 7 p.m. and a 1 p.m. on Sunday. We're back to the like real classic three show weekends now. So hopefully no one's going to be scared of finding 5 show weekends. We're back to just the 3 now, so we could take a little bit of a breather.
And this show now you could just say one Ram instead of the black and red.
I know we're gonna really miss Mark, but he's gonna do so. He's gonna represent AT1 over in Albany. So hopefully they treat him right over there, and then we'll all be reunited back in Cincinnati. Hopefully.
Right on, right on. Well, any social media there, Brad? We're gonna open up the new T-shirt factory here on Monday.
Yeah, we have some designs. I got to finish up a couple things. Life for me kind of got hectic, but I finally got a full-time job starting April 4th. So I'm stoked about that. Social media, you can find me at The Only Monster Truck Canucker. Find me on Facebook, just under Bradley Shaw. Check out Bradley Shaw Designs. I've revamped my website and all my social media. So I got some stuff in the works. And also, here is one final dad joke that I just found. So I have to do it. My wife said I should do lunges to stay in shape. That would be a big step forward.
That was excellent. I hope everyone appreciated that dad joke because that was good.
Well, yeah.
And Cheech, what about your social media, my friend?
Just type in Google and find my pin on iTunes, or whatever. You'll find me there.
Was that a dad joke?
No,
it's okay. All right.
Like I always tell people that I have carrier pigeons, and you can. I'm the one last person to do have a Pony Express and send mail and stuff like that. So no, you can go Dan Chichegosh on Facebook, Instagram. That's pretty much it. My RC stuff on Facebook and Instagram too. Crush This is on Facebook and Instagram too, and on YouTube. And I started a new YouTube channel. It's just Dan Chichegosh on YouTube. We'll talk a little bit about my RC stuff and a little bit of GoPro action on Mark racetrack in I think Wayne County, Illinois. And I hear something in the background, and
yes.
I totally completely forgot to say that you're an awesome dog mom. And
thank you, Cheech.
Let's talk about your dog before we go.
Yes.
What type of?
I love to talk about her.
How old is she, and what is she? And
well, she's a wild animal first and foremost. She's a German Shepherd mix. I've had her since she was 5 weeks old, and if anyone pays attention to my social media, it's pretty much just my dog. And at this point, monster trucks apparently. But yeah, she's her name's Ivy. She's 5 years old. She's my absolute pride and joy, and she's sick and tired of me being in the office all day. And she's like, "This is ridiculous. I deserve attention." And so she's coming down to check on me. Apparently, I've been down in my office for too long, and she's like, "Are you kidding me? It's time to like go for a walk." But I love her to death. She's a sweetie. She's a German Shepherd mix, and she loves me even though I'm gone a lot. So can't complain.
Well, this is my last dad joke, and I still have to give you a few more later. But my dad told me a joke about boxing, and I guess I missed the punchline.
Oof, so good. So start racking them up for Cincinnati. I'm telling you, I'm going to be deprived next weekend in Columbus.
Yes, I am the life support.
You are. And hey, just to let you guys know too, like Cheech, we appreciate you and your team. You guys work extremely hard. I know you guys didn't have the best of luck on that last show on Sunday, but you guys turn stuff around so quick. All of you guys, the fleet technicians and your guys' teams, the stuff that you do and how fast you do it. I don't think people who watch the show probably know that you guys do a real fast job already, but I want to emphasize that the tech officials and the fleet team, the stuff that you guys do, like to turn things around, I mean, it is impressive. That is not your normal mechanic job. The stuff you do is absolutely impressive, and we appreciate when you guys can get the trucks literally as close to new as possible for show after show after show. So you got to give yourself some credit, because especially when it's in the cold in a small little tent outside or outside in the pits where it's 30 degrees and snowing. I mean, you guys really do a great job. So give yourself a pat on the back for that.
Yeah, thank you. The Feld technicians and a couple of the tech officials call us the Hall Brother Minions. because we wear
Nice.
sometimes wear the overalls and stuff like that, like minions, and they joke around. They like, oh, there's a problem going on, and you guys like circle the problem, and then like you disappear, like you go back, and it's like a dusk, and everything's brand new, and the truck goes off, and it's
Well,
like,
it's
yeah,
so funny because when you guys come out and in intermission or whatever, you guys look like a NASCAR pit crew because you guys all come out and you're just like wrenching and everyone's like getting it all ready and and you guys all look so professional and like everyone's got their matching gear on. It really brings up that level for professionality that again, if I had no idea what monster trucks look like or had any idea what the industry was, you guys completely knock any type of negative redneck, whatever. It's none of that. It is very professional. I mean, you guys show up in the gear that you guys have, and you're turning around like one of the best looking trucks in the business. And I mean, you guys seriously, I don't know how you do it. So it's impressive to watch.
it's very. I think it's also impressive sometimes. Is the rigs that we kind of haul, because people just think maybe we just haul these things and old moving van trailers or some hay wagon that, and then put stuff. No, we could drive down the highway. We try to make, we don't just try to represent Hall Brothers Racing and Ram. We also try to represent the production and the group that is Monster Jam or a monster truck promoter or something like that, because it's all in one group, I mean, and that's a testament also to the Fell guys. Every single weekend, for example, Max D or Gravedigger, they're wadded up. But when you see that truck back on a Thursday or Friday for morning media, it looks like it's been show and shine since day one.
Yeah,
And that's a testament to everyone, that including even even Zimmer
yep,
and the Gardner and all them. They will turn around. Like in Rosemont, they had to put a new motor in Zach's truck. They turned it around, and before you know it, like a lot of these people don't know that these trucks, when it's going in and out of the tunnel, there's some severe bad damage that people will be like, "Holy cow, what happened?" And then you see it coming out of the tunnel. Like for example, maybe it was at Toledo. It was last week in Grand Rapids. I think Elvis's El Toro Loco broke an axle or something like that,
yeah,
and it still made it to the next round. Or Mark and the last on that last day on Sunday. Like
yep,
you guys moved him up to the beginning part of two wheel skill. We all know on the radio that there was something wrong with the truck, but the fans
right,
didn't know that. You still put him in the beginning of the part because you did your thing. So shout out
right,
to you too, Bree, because you worked together with us. That okay, we know that we have a hurt truck. Let's put him in the front. He'll do what he needs to do. He'll come back
absolutely,
out. That gives more time, because between two wheel skill and at that show we didn't have donuts, but if there was gonna be donuts, it still didn't matter because we
right.
still had intermission. So you had Mark pull in, so that's still time. That's 7 other trucks. Intermission.
You're looking at like if when he went first in two wheel, you're looking at maybe 15 minutes of that competition, and then you do a 20. We had to do it because we didn't do donuts. We had to do a 20-minute intermission. So you're looking at like by the time his run was done, maybe 40 minutes at best, maybe 30 to 40 minutes of time to turn that truck around to make it for freestyle. That in any other sport would be, they would be out. Whether that was a dirt bike or whatever else, like it just on any other level would be out. But the fact that you guys come in and can change transmissions in 15 minutes and change out tires or whatever else that you guys do. I'm not mechanically inclined, so I have no idea. I just know that you guys do
Yeah.
stuff so
Well,
fast.
did Steve
It's
tell you the
crazy.
story about Austin? I know Nick Devius was talking about the rear end. We changed the whole rear end on Mark's truck and Austin. And Steve comes around. He's doing his officiating and stuff like that, and he's focused on Max D. Troy comes over. Troy comes over to Steve and says, "Hey, did you take a look at Raminator? Raminator broke the rear." And Steve's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's already fixed, and it's already ready to go."
I'm
And he's
telling
like,
you.
"What?" And he's like, "Yeah, they're already done, and we're already cleaned, and just waiting for everything." And he's like, "Oh, dang, more paperwork."
Yeah.
And he
Yeah, but
had
you
to
guys
do
are
more
done.
paperwork.
It's crazy. It's honestly really crazy. And like I said, it it just shows how professional you guys are and how good at the your guys' job, and you guys are highly trained, very specific mechanics basically, or fleet technicians that come out, and it's not like we just hire people from Valvoline to come out and wrench on these trucks. It is the best of the best. It is a very elite team that comes out and works on these trucks. They're highly specialized. So when people come to these shows, no matter what monster truck show it is, to be honest, it's you guys across the board are highly specialized in what you guys do. I mean, you're looking at, especially if you come to a Sunday show, that truck that you're seeing hit the floor, you guys might have, a lot of people have no idea that that truck has rolled a handful of times, or like you said, it has broken sway bars, whatever it is, like it has been worked on and basically beautified for that show. And some people would have no idea that it has rolled over or had an engine swapped out or whatever, because you guys come in there and clean it up and get it all worked up so that it can come and perform, for the fourth or fifth time, just that weekend. So I mean, it's you're when you come and you pay your hard-earned money to come see a show, you're not only just paying to see them do, like, the drivers do some crazy things on top of that pod, but you're paying to see how fast that these trucks can get turned around if they break, whether it's just a body, piece or something like that. I mean, you're paying for like a whole show. And I think that's why a lot of the hosts like to come back and highlight that stuff, because some people can't see what you guys are doing in the back. And so we like to make sure there's cameras back there to show off what you guys are doing. So it's a whole production that people might not even realize.
One more shout out is your tech officials, your crew, your AV. People may not know that, the turnaround that, like, people may not think that, you have a show at 1:00, so it ends at 3, and the next show's at 7. No one realized that you have to add an hour, like for the beginning part. Our doors open technically at 10:30. It's not at noon, or the show is at 1. So that turnaround that you have from the 3:00, based off of damages and stuff like that, that's based off if you don't go over the speculated time that you have on there.
Right.
From that time to 6:00, doors open at 6. Pre-show is around that time. The show time at 7. No one really understands the turnaround of that has to happen. So shout out to the tech officials, the AV,
absolutely,
and everyone, because you're also between then, you're also canceling out 30 minutes for food. What I mean?
Yeah.
To hook that up. So that's 30 minutes already kind of gone down the drain, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Not making it sound as a negative, but you have to take that in consideration that,
right.
Food's that way. But
so yeah, like you're saying, you've got maybe 2 hours in between shows, realistically, of hands on the truck to get it right back to performance ready. You're really looking at 2 hours at probably at most.
Yeah, the
then
track,
you can't touch it. Yeah, you got to get everything. Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible what the team can do.
Right. Shout out to Kevin and Cody and
Matt,
Troy and Matt.
Everybody, absolutely.
The Dirt Crew.
Yes.
They're fantastic people, and they also shout out to the Dirt Crew guys, because without them, me and my crew, the Feld Fleet guys, can't do a lot of the stuff that we can do without them, because they're willing. Like Raminator, Sunday night, we blew a motor after racing, hole in the block, game over. They took their time and said, if you can get this truck tired down, and before freestyle, if we can get this truck ready to go, I will get the loader and we'll load you in. We did everything we needed to do, and the guy from their crew came over and loaded us up, and we were ready to go. So shout out to the Dirt Crew guys, because they're there long hours too. When the show's over in the weekend, they're still out back, still scooping the dirt out until, maybe that morning. And it's crazy insane.
It is.
But once again, thank you so much. Made this our program. It's freaking awesome. This is the third episode that we had, Brad, where we said, we're done. We got more questions.
It always just seems to work out that way.
Maybe we need to start the beginning of the program saying, like, the first 5 minutes, well, we're done questions. And then we just have a list of them. So we should do it that way. Next week's guest, I have no idea.
It'd be a surprise then, maybe.
Yeah, good surprise. I know in the future we're gonna probably have Tyler Meninga, and a couple others. So we'll get the ball rolling there, and maybe do a little bit of some on site interviews and stuff. But man, I have to get ready to do some laundry.
Yeah.
I've got to get back to the road. Got to get back on it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Gotta get ready for Albany. So, but,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
Well, I
once
appreciate
again,
you guys.
thank you.
Absolutely. I was happy to be here, you guys. Thank you.
no worries. Thank you for coming on. And before we head out, guys, I gotta always say this. I'm gonna start off by this. Rest in peace, Taylor Hawkins. Rest in peace, fellow drummer. That, to be honest, that hit me hard. So rest in peace, Taylor. And also, guys, check up on your friends and family. Mental health is number one priority, guys. You know, I always preach it. I'll preach it to the day I die, guys. If you're not doing good, reach out to somebody. You know, that it'll save your life. So yeah, guys, until next week, guys. And also, again, Monday, our merch store is going to be starting up. So keep your eye out for that. Got some cool designs. And until next time, guys, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up. Peace.
I could end it right now, but I'm gonna do it right now.